The countdown is on to Game 6. The Blue Jays looking to beat the Dodgers on home turf to capture their first World Series title in 32 years. Good afternoon. We're just hours away from game time and the Jays' chance to cement their place in history.
They took 2 of 3 games in L.A. to take a 3-2 lead and bring the series back to Toronto. And the fans are fired up. CTV Jessica Smith is live outside the Rogers Centre with more excitement. What a Friday, Jess.
Honestly, the city is buzzing and the fans are locked in as they get ready to cheer on the Jays tonight for Game 6 here in the city.
Yes.
Blue Jays fans are geared up.
Keegan's cheering on the home team, right? Yeah, go Jays go, right?
And ready to cheer on Canada's team.
What do you think, Georgia? Are you going to say? What do you say? Yes. Good girl.
5-1 again.
5-1. Yeah, 5-1. Let's do 5.
Some already in line.
I am here lining up. I was super lucky to get a couple of the general admission tickets, so that's why I'm hoping to grab a good spot for the game tonight.
Others leaning into the fact that Game 6 falls on Halloween.
Got this awesome Halloween costume, and been wanting to do this since we got this costume, so perfect timing, right?
I'm Snyder.
And I'm the Looney Dog guys.
Wearing our suits has been unlucky in other playoff games, but today is Halloween. So do we change these suits into costumes and the curse is broken? We don't know, but we're stressed and we just want to win today.
Celebrating a feeling of national pride tied to their history-making Jays.
The score prediction, I'm going to say it's going to be 7-5.
The whole country's leaning in, lifting up Canada's team as they continue this incredible run. Reporting live, I'm Jessica Smith. Michelle, I'll send things back to you.
Thank you, Jess. And with thousands and thousands of fans expected in and around Rogers Centre, police are stepping up preparations to handle increased crowds. CTV's John Musselman is live at Toronto Police Headquarters with those details. John.
Well, Michelle, we just had a chat with the superintendent. They say Toronto police are ready. We'll show you some video here. When the Blue Jays did win the American League Championship Series, there was a celebration, of course, exuberance, people flooding onto the streets, honking horns, waving Blue Jays fan flags. Everybody's happy, and in most cases, they tend to make their way up to the Young Dundas area, so crowd control will always be an issue with Toronto police. They're saying they will be bringing in neighboring police forces to help out, as well as the OPP, to keep an eye on the crowds. Of course, when you get that many people on the streets, if they win this game tonight, it's something that police have to keep an eye on. Also, the TTC will be adding subway trains for people coming into the city tonight to some of the viewing parties at Nathan Phillips Square. The GO train service will also be added to handle some of the commuters coming into the city. Here's a chance, some of the words we heard from the staff inspector this morning about what to expect, what people will see, and how they're going to handle this.
In one sentence, there's going to be a lot of police out there. But if I could expand on that a bit, we've been planning for this event essentially since the Blue Jays secured a spot in the World Series, and really a whole of service approach is being used here. So all units, all divisions are going to be engaged. There's going to be a very significant and visible police presence. As well, we're going to be supported with our policing partners. So you can expect to see Durham Region, York Region, Peel Region, the OPP also on the streets of Toronto, helping us to keep the city safe. Yeah, this is a celebratory event. We recognize that. Keeping the peace, though, is our #1 priority. Public safety, of course. So as well as our partners, we've been working with the Rogers Centre, our other emergency services, the City of Toronto. And yeah, public safety is the overarching goal, but we want there to be celebration. We want to have people celebrate responsibly. So we want to remind the public, to be responsible, to look out for each other. We want to remind the public about not using drones. Fireworks essentially are prohibited. Be mindful of your children, be mindful of your possessions and things like that. These are large crowds that we're expecting.
So again, if the Jays win tonight, there'll be a large celebration on the streets of the city. If they lose, there's always Game 7 as well. And win or lose, there's still an issue. So police say they'll be staffed for both sides of the equation. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. And the TTC says it's gearing up for Games 6 and 7, if possible, or if necessary, of the World Series. Planned closures have been called off this weekend, and there will be increased service on lines 1 and 2 and downtown streetcar routes where possible. Metrolink says there will be late-night trips added on the Kitchener, Barrie, and Stouffville lines to help fans get home from Game 6 and 7 if it happens.
For anyone driving downtown this weekend, all 6 lanes of the Gardner Expressway will be staying open. The city has canceled a closure between Spadina and Highway 427 that would have been in effect from Saturday night until Monday morning. The plan was to let crews finish final paving on the eastbound lanes between Dufferin and Strawn. Officials say that will happen at a later date.
And we have more news in a moment, but first a look at the forecast. Here's a live shot of Rogers Center. Lots happening on this Friday. You got Game 6 of the World Series. Don't forget it's Halloween. It is a little cloudy and cool out there. Let's bring in Lindsay Morrison with a look at how things are outside Rogers Center. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, Nathan, you're right. There's a bit of a dueling of interests today. It, of course, is Halloween. It, of course, is World Series Game 6. We are hoping for a Halloween. How about that? But you're right. The weather forecast, very important today, especially for all of those little trick-or-treaters. I've needed the umbrella so far this morning, but hopefully won't need it much longer. Let's begin with a look at your satellite and radar imagery. It's been a soggy day and a half. We've had this low-pressure system bringing us a whole lot of rain the last little while. Here's what that looks like right now, and we'll widen things out to show you that a bit of wet snow is happening for areas east of Georgian Bay. My goodness, that could sink a little further south as well. The winds, part of the story for today, they're coming from a northwesterly direction, and they're gusty already. They're going to be gusty later on today, maybe to around 50 or even 60 kilometers per hour, depending on where you're joining us from. So as much as it gets drier, it remains windy, and it's going to feel cool as a result of those winds. It is 7 degrees right now. Here's a look at what you can expect for trick-or-treating time, or today at a glance, rather. 11 degrees is our forecast daytime high. That is just a hair above seasonal, which is nice. But again, those northwest winds aren't going to make it feel all that comfortable at times. And then your Game 6 forecast, first pitch, temperature is going to be around 6 or 7 degrees. We are live outside the Rogers Center right now. The excitement, you can already feel it here, Nathan and Michelle. Lots more to come this hour, but for now, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Lindsay. And still ahead, we continue our Blue Jays coverage. Speaking to former Blue Jay Rob Butler, the only Canadian player to win a World Series with the Jays. That's a little later in the newscast. To other news now, a chaotic scene on the 401 near Winston Churchill this morning after what police are describing as a series of crashes. Around 5:30 a.m., OPP say a passenger vehicle hit the divider between the express and collector lanes. It then went into a tractor trailer that lost control and hit the concrete wall dividing the eastbound and westbound lanes. A total of 6 vehicles were hit by debris. Traffic was halted but reopened in both directions within a few hours. A 45-year-old from Georgetown faces a charge of careless driving. He reported minor injuries.
Federal authorities in the U.S. say they foiled a possible violent attack this weekend. FBI Director Kash Patel posted a message on social media saying a number of people in Michigan were taken into custody today. He added more details will be released and thanked those involved in defending the U.S.
The Ford government is taking the next steps towards the potential creation of a new energy corridor and pipeline from Western Canada.
It's a feasibility study. The conversation's just beginning, but we can't wait. We've got to move quickly on all opportunities to build this corridor for a made-in-Canada solution. It'll open up the north, and it's good news for all provinces and all territories.
The study will explore the benefits of building oil and gas pipelines from Alberta and Saskatchewan to new and existing refineries in Ontario. The Premier's office says the proposal will unlock new markets for Canada's energy resources while reducing dependence on the U.S. Opposition leaders say details are still scarce.
I'm really concerned that once again we are seeing this government and this Premier disrespecting the taxpayer dollar by trying to foot the bill for something that, again, I think big, very profitable corporations should be able to pay for. And I would like to understand better what the cost is. He hasn't told us what the cost will be. He hasn't told us what the benefit will be to Ontario workers and Ontario families.
The province says the new pipeline would be built with Canadian steel and create good-paying jobs across the country. Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan have signed on to the proposed project so far, but Manitoba's government has not. And sticking with provincial news, the Minister of the Environment held a news conference today announcing a plan to create a new conservation authority agency.
The aim of the agency would be to improve service and get projects moving quicker. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris is live with the details. Siobhan.
Well, the government's been considering some version of this for a few years now, but now they are putting the legislative wheels in motion. What they are looking to do here, the proposal, is to take 36 existing conservation authorities and collapse them into 7 regional bodies. The Minister of the Environment and Conservation says that will eliminate duplication and municipalities having to pay multiple agencies for their work. Hamilton, for example, has 4 different conservation authorities touching their territory. With that centralized agency, it would be tasked with applying standards and strategic direction to the other 7. The goal really is to streamline the building process.
The workings of the conservation authorities, when it's not serving the people as well as it ought to, then we're not protecting Ontario. So part of this is also about the motivation to build critical infrastructure faster, to build housing faster, to get national projects in the ground faster. So conservation authorities should enhance that. They shouldn't be an impediment to it, and there shouldn't be unequal standards applied across the province.
McCarthy swears that there won't be layoffs in this process, that people dubbed redundant will be redeployed to the front lines. It's not clear how likely that is. A CEO earning 6 figures, for example, to be back on the front lines. Reporting live from Queen's Park, I'm Siobhan Morris. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Thanks, Siobhan. We're learning new details about Ontario's controversial Skills Development Fund.
Questions are swirling about the involvement of one person very close to Labour Minister David Piccinci, his wife. CTV's John Woodward reports.
Computech College in Durham applied for and got a Skills Development Fund grant to train a class of personal support workers, or PSWs. So did Mississauga Career College, in partnership with the church, to the tune of around $3 million.
Healthcare was a big priority, and that's why we picked actually PSW as the Personal Support Worker Diploma program.
Those career colleges are members of the advocacy group Career Colleges Ontario. Records show that group hired a lobbyist named Faith Chipman to target a variety of ministries. Among the goals, increasing PSW training. Faith Chipman is the wife of Labour Minister David Piccinci, responsible for the Skills Development Fund, prompting Ontario's opposition leader to cry foul.
Once again, it's the friends and family special with this minister.
Potential conflicts of interest involving spouses are often handled with something called an ethics screen, said York University professor Ian Stedman.
The screen would look like someone else's job is to stand in the way of the inbox and make sure that the minister doesn't receive any files from that company or that person, the spouse in this case.
And late Wednesday, Piccinci confirmed that's what he has with Chipman.
We work with the Integrity Commissioner, and I take that very seriously.
Piccinci didn't confirm a similar screen was in place with the man who put him and his wife in his family's season ticket ringside seats in 2023, a man tied to a company that would go on to get millions in Skills Development Fund grants, something the NDP seized on in question period.
Show us the proof. Who paid for those tickets?
I'm glad she's talking about things that happened year before I even became minister.
Piccinci said he paid for those tickets, but not how much. The NDP highlighting that among many connections between the governing PC party and recipients of the grants, though Piccinci has said grants went to NDP supporters too. In a statement, Career Colleges Ontario said they don't represent individual colleges. CCO is not involved in these applications and does not have information regarding whether or how many member colleges may have participated. Chipman herself didn't respond to CTV News. Computech said it couldn't tell us any details under the conditions of our agreement, and Mississauga College's Peter Saad said he doesn't think the minister's wife was involved at all.
I don't know who the minister's wife is.
Saad believes their application was approved because of its quality. John Woodward, CTV News.
The Washington Post published an editorial by Ontario's Premier today. Doug Ford said Americans are underestimating the Blue Jays and suggested the World Series is less David versus Goliath and more a heavyweight bout. He also called the team and Canada global heavyweights. Ford said, "We are an energy superpower with the oil, gas, and electricity needed to power America's economic growth, including from Ontario's growing fleet of nuclear power plants and the first small modular nuclear reactors in the G7. Canada has some of the largest deposits of critical minerals in the world in the Ring of Fire, including the rare earth minerals needed for advanced manufacturing, medical technologies, modern defense systems and equipment, and everyday essentials like mobile phones. We have uranium, potash, high-grade nickel, steel, aluminum, and some of the best lumber in the world for building homes." Ford says Canada stands proud on the world stage, and the Jays will win too when they win the World Series.
And there's been so much talk about how it's been 32 years. Well, back then there was one Canadian on the Blue Jays when they last won the World Series in 1993, and he's from Toronto. Rob Butler joins us now on CTV News at noon. Rob, so great to have you on with us today. I'm curious, all these years later, are you still reveling in that last World Series win?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all. Yes, I haven't forgotten. I have not forgotten any of those moments back in 1993. I haven't forgotten any moments of my baseball career at all, to be honest. But 93 was special, and it's something that I've, it's been in my blood for 32 years now, and I've been waiting all this time for the Blue Jays to get back there, and waiting all this time for a Canadian-born player to be on the team when it happens. And I'm excited that Vladdy Guerrero is born in Canada. We're not raised the same way. I was trained to play baseball, playing house league baseball in East York in Toronto, and he got to hang around Major League Parks for most of his childhood. So our training regimen was different, but we both ended up in the same place, so I'm pretty happy about that.
And wow, this postseason ride, it's just been incredible. Now we're one win away. What does it take to close out a championship? They've overcome so much getting here, but on a night like tonight, what does the mindset have to be in the clubhouse? How do you balance the nerves, the emotions, and what I imagine is overwhelming pressure?
The players really, I think the players really feed off of all that. The pressure and that adrenaline that you get from the excitement of playing, they definitely feed off that, and they're the masters of being able to control it and use it as a superpower. Because ultimately they're trying to figure out how to play this game in fractions of time, right? Speed that people wouldn't even be able to really understand unless you're seeing a baseball come at you 100 miles an hour. So for them to be able to do this and focus and also feel the need and the want to win for each other like they're showing, and also for our whole country, is so special and so difficult. And it's beautiful to watch how badly they want to win for us as well as for each other. I think that's so important for Canadians. We want to be united in something, and baseball has really brought us all together, especially at this time, in our lives with what's going on in the world. So the Blue Jays have brought something magical for our whole country. And, for me, having lived that dream and lived that magic, I know how important it is.
And as I understand it, you're still coaching. What do you think, and especially since you're representing Canada, what do you think this is doing for the game of baseball and really for this country?
Well, it's so huge for the game of baseball, right? When I was 15 and the Blue Jays first won the division in 1985. I wanted so badly to be a Toronto Blue Jay. I went out and practiced baseball until the next day. I think it was a marathon of how important it was for me as a kid from Maine and Danforth, with big dreams and big hopes. And I mean, obviously they were so far away. And I was just a house league player with dreams, right? So it didn't really matter what level of baseball I was playing, but also it was just the feeling of being so proud to be Canadian, so proud to be born in Toronto, and so proud to be loving the Blue Jays. It is so important for people to be a part of it and feel that embrace, bringing families together. People are, all this fun and excitement that we're all having has been so crucial for us. And, for me and my family, we're jumping up and down. My parents in Butlerville, Newfoundland are jumping up and down, and we're sending each other texts and pictures and, just remembering all the fun things that we experienced while I was a Blue Jay, and to get to do it again now, it's been really good.
I would imagine the memories are flooding back. Before we let you go, we're out of time, but where are you watching the game tonight?
Well, I wish I was at the Dome. I wish I was in the dugout like I used to be. But I will be on the couch with my brother and my wife, and we'll be enjoying the game like we have been. All season we've been enjoying the game, so it'll be exciting and fun to watch.
Rob Butler, thank you so much. What a treat to get to chat with you today. All the best, and go Jays, go.
Thank you. Go Jays, go.
Well, turning now to federal news, Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada's relationship with China is at a turning point following a meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. For more, let's bring in CTV's Jeremy Chiron. Jeremy, what more can you tell us about that meeting with Carney and Xi?
Yeah, Nathan, look, there was a lot of pressure on this meeting. This is the first time a Canadian prime minister, has met with Chinese president since 2017. So this was a long time coming, and a lot of anticipation leading into this meeting. What we know is that the two sides talked a lot about trade, about bolstering the trade relationship and working more together in sectors where they feel aligned, specifically things like clean and conventional energy, agriculture, manufacturing, climate change, international international finance, all areas that both Canada and China feel as though they can work together on and eventually build on a trade relationship. The two countries have not had the best relationship since about 2018. That's when Canada arrested Huawei CEO on behalf of the U.S. Days later, the two Michaels were arrested for allegations of espionage, allegations they denied. They spent over 1,000 days in jail. That, of course, had a major impact on the Canada-China relationship. China has also been targeted or identified by CSIS for foreign interference concerns. So there are a lot of things that have put stress on the relationship between the two countries. But Prime Minister Carney and his government seem to be wanting to try and put those things aside, or at least separate those things from what is a potential trade relationship with a massive economy in the face of a trade war with Donald Trump. So this appears to be the beginning of efforts to normalize the trade relationship with China. Right now, Canada has 100% tariffs on Chinese EVs. China has tariffs on Canadian canola products, some seafood products. Both the President and the Prime Minister directed their teams to get to work on trying to sort those things out, come to an agreement that works for both sides. We didn't get any concrete agreement today, but we do know that President Xi extended an invite to Prime Minister Mark Carney for an official visit to Beijing. We don't know when it'll happen, but the Prime Minister says he accepted the invite. And so certainly it would appear this is the beginning of a new, different, bolstered trade relationship with China.
Also, Jeremy, the PM put out a statement saying both leaders directed their officials to resolve outstanding trade issues. Are we talking canola and EVs, or is there something else?
Yeah, it's mostly canola and EVs. There are also, in that statement, the Prime Minister talked about irritants. So there are issues in irritants. I put the, canola tariffs, the EV tariffs, the seafood tariffs in the category of issues. And those are trade pieces, issues that can be resolved, that can be worked out. We know from comments by the Chinese ambassador on question period with Vashi Kapelos not long ago that China is willing to lift those tariffs if Canada is willing to do the same. I think when it comes to the irritants part of that statement from the Prime Minister, that's where we I think, see some of those things that aren't talked about as much fall into the mix. Things that aren't talked about publicly as much, and probably not between the two leaders, but concerns around foreign interference, concerns about the allegations of espionage, and the history over the last roughly decade, a little bit less, that has unfolded between these two countries. So certainly there are issues that need to be worked out, but at the same time, Canada is dealing with a trade war with Donald Trump. We have made it clear, and by we I mean the government, the Prime Minister has made it clear that Canada as a country needs to diversify its markets, and China is a massive economy, and Canada is looking to Asia to try and fill some of those gaps. So I think that Canada is looking to do both at the same time. Keep those concerns at bay, and understand that when it comes to national security, there are things that will just never be part of that relationship with China, while also trying to bolster the trade piece.
All right, understood. CTV's Jeremy Sharon in Ottawa. Thank you.
Anytime.
Well, it's also a big day today. Not only could the Jays win the World Series tonight, it's also Halloween.
A school in Etobicoke was definitely in the spirit, putting on a parade this morning. And CTV's Janice Golding is live there at Sir Adam Beck Junior School. What a fun start to the day, seeing all the kids in their costumes all over city streets, Janice.
It certainly was, Michelle, and as you mentioned, it is a big day for the kids here at Sir Adam Beck School in Etobicoke, and it's hard to say what they're more excited about, the prospect of endless candy or the Jays game tonight. Of course, the day started off in traditional fashion. Just as they would any other Halloween, these kids got dressed in their holiday attire, and the little ghouls and goblins took to the hallways for a Halloween parade. Instead of cheering on the Jays, of course, their parents were cheering on their children this morning as tiny tots from kindergarten to grade 5 showed off their creativity with some very cool costumes. Of course, tonight's World Series game is still top of mind, so this is how they say they plan on tackling the evening.
I'm going a little trick-or-treating and then watching the whole game.
We're going to get out early, about 5:30. I might even start trick-or-treating right after school today. Shut it all down, get the Jays ready, eat all the candies, and watch the game. Sorry, kiddies, but, we can have our fun and eat it too, right?
we're gonna like knock on doors, and if we see the TV on for the Blue Jays game, we're gonna ask them the score, and then I'm kind of like gonna get as much as candy as I can, and then I hope the game's still going on.
Yeah, so if it's still going on, well, we're trick-or-treating. We just continue, get as much candy, and then we're done, and then we watch the rest of the game.
Of course, most of these kids will be done trick-or-treating before first pitch tonight, so parents should be prepared for the little kids to start door knocking bright and early this evening. Reporting live, I'm Janice Golding. Now back to Michelle and Nathan.
Thanks.
Well, I think it's going to be a last day of October to remember for many different reasons. Of course, Halloween, the World Series. Let's take a look back at this month weather-wise. You may recall it was a pretty great month. We had some very warm temperatures. In fact, there was one day we almost climbed to 30 degrees, and we only picked up about half of our average rainfall. Looking ahead to November, it of course begins tomorrow. And yeah, generally speaking, we can expect our temperatures to start becoming a little cooler. The average overnight low in November is around 0. We're going to take you through the forecast for the next 7 days, and we have a 0-degree low in the forecast. We'll show you when after the break.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, there is just so much going on today. It is the very last day of the month of October. Blue Jays could win the World Series today. It is also Halloween. And yeah, we've got some rain. It's a bit soggy. It feels a bit cool. I think the hope is that it kind of pushes out when things get real.
It's true. And don't forget, it's a Friday. So, I mean, happy Friday, happy Halloween, happy World Series. Seems like happy everything today, Lindsay.
Look at that.
Happy everything, Michelle and Nathan, and I'm going to be a lot happier when this rain tapers off. I closed up my umbrella, and now it's back open, but I do hope that we'll be putting away the umbrellas for trick-or-treating time and certainly for game time here. I will say, though, I've got a lot of layers on today to keep warm, and I think all the little ghouls and goblins will want to do the same underneath their costumes before venturing out tonight. Let's get to your forecast. We'll begin by letting you know that weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm Injury Lawyers. You don't pay unless they win. All right, so yes, it is still a little unsettled here in southern Ontario. We've got this low still circulating. I'm taking just a close look here at that mixing line, maybe as far south as Peterborough County, getting into either some ice pellets or some wet snow. And certainly that is the case, likely not accumulating for parts of the Algonquin Highlands and sections of Muskoka. But for us, it is rain here in the GTA, again tapering off as the day goes on. So here's how that all plays out. If this all goes according to plan, we will have a dry trick-or-treating couple of hours around here. So that is great news. Let's pause this at about 6 p.m. You can see that it is still quite active for eastern sections of Ontario. Possibly eastern and northeastern sections of the GTA could still be dealing with some pesky showers, especially if trick-or-treaters get out earlier tonight. But for the most part, we're going to dry. And sections of the west end could even see a little bit of sun before it sets. Heading into the weekend, it looks to be generally dry. A couple of lake effect showers are a possibility, as winds are still going to be a big part of our weather story for the next day or so here. Here's what they look like. They're going to start to ease somewhat as we move into the overnight hours tonight, but gusts today could exceed 50 kilometers per hour. Right now it is 7 degrees at Pearson Airport, 7 in Trenton and Wyerton, 11 degrees in Windsor, so you will find it a little bit warmer there. We are hoping to make it to a daytime high of 11 today. That would be nice, but I still think it's going to feel a little bit cooler than that thanks to these northwest winds. There's your trick-or-treating forecast into the evening. Again, bundle up. Maybe don't forget the gloves and something warm underneath that costume. And secure those Halloween decorations while you're at it. They might start blowing around. Overnight tonight, we drop to a low of about 4 degrees, might slip all the way to 3 before sunrise tomorrow. Technically on the warm side of seasonal, so we'll take that. And then here's a look at what you can expect temperature-wise temperature-wise into our weekend. So 10 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday. Looks like we'll see a little more sun on Sunday compared to Saturday. Varying amounts of cloud in the mix, and the chance of showers in some areas, dealing with a bit more of a westerly wind this time around. Here's your 7-day forecast. So yes, we've got a few showers lingering for today. Saturday is the first day of November, and we're forecasting a high of 10 degrees. Maybe into single digits as we make our way into Monday, and middle of next week, another round of wet weather looks possible after Monday. Also, again, we are live outside Rogers Centre today. Of course, it's all about the Blue Jays today, but Nathan and Michelle, I have to make it about Halloween as well. I love this holiday. Happy Halloween to all celebrating, and let's go Blue Jays. I'll send it back to you.
I knew you'd dress up in some way. Thank you, Lindsay. And between the Jays game there and trick-or-treating, the streets are definitely expected to be much busier than normal. Excited children may not be watching for oncoming traffic, meaning drivers should be on higher alert tonight. To give us tips on how to keep everyone safe is Michael Stewart, who joins us now, Community Relations Consultant for CAA South Central Ontario. Thanks for being with us. What's top of mind for you on this Friday night of all nights?
Thank you so much for having me. I'd say there's probably a few things top of mind. One, of course, the Jays, but then two is it's Halloween night. And there's going to be a lot of kids who are excited to go out trick-or-treating, get as much candy as possible, and from what I hear, try and get back inside before 8 p.m. So we really just want to remind motorists to take extra caution out on the roads tonight, especially if you're driving in residential areas, making sure you're following those posted speed limits, obeying all road signs, and keeping your headlights on 30 minutes before sunset and when it's dark out, just to make sure that you can see any potential ghouls or goblins that might be coming and crossing the road.
What does the data show us? Is this one of the more dangerous nights for pedestrians?
Unfortunately, as we get into later into fall and into winter, as we start losing daylight hours, there is an increase in incidents between pedestrians and vehicles. So we really want to remind folks, and Halloween's a great time to start thinking about these things. When you are a pedestrian, it's really important to dress in brightly colored clothing, especially when it's dark out. If you have reflective accessories or elements to your outfit that you can include, those would be great to help you more visible. And of course, staying on sidewalks, only crossing at marked crossings, making sure that you're predictable as a pedestrian, and paying attention as well. It's important for drivers to not be distracted, but it's also important for pedestrians to not be distracted. And those tips can really help with Halloween night as well.
Certainly. Yeah, Michael, do you think it's even a bit different this year because we kind of have the trifecta? It's a Friday night for Halloween, and then you have, it is Halloween, and then you also have this potential World Series win. Do you think it just might make for more problems?
I think there is definitely a lot happening tonight. I think a trifecta is a great way to phrase it. But everyone wants to have fun, and there's some great tips to be safe, whether you're celebrating the Jays, whether you're out trick-or-treating, or whether you're just enjoying a Friday night. It's important to remember the rules of the road and to keep everyone's safety in mind. If you are going out trick-or-treating tonight, maybe opt for a costume that isn't all black. I'm sure many people are going to be going out as Jays players tonight, and that way they're dressed and ready to watch the game. But if you do have perhaps an all-black outfit, you can always put a flashlight in your kid's trick-or-treat bag on and facing down, just to help illuminate them a little bit more, just with that caveat to not shine that flashlight at drivers. And even traveling in groups or with a chaperone, just to help make people safe and hopefully to help keep them on the roads. I know it's on the sidewalks. It's very exciting to get to that next house and get candy, but we want to make sure that everyone's safe.
You're right. The sugar, the excitement, it can get out of control. Michael Stewart with CAA South Central Ontario. We really appreciate all your insights today. Very helpful, and happy Halloween.
Thank you so much. Happy Halloween, and go Jays go.
Take care.
And we have more news after the break. For the past 26 years, Community Music Schools of Toronto has been providing music education for kids.
That's being done by removing financial barriers, but it takes fundraising. CTV's Pauline Chan has the story.
It's our 9th year for the Community Music Schools of Toronto.
We're trying to raise $200,000.
Tony Valley and his band Fig Leaf will be playing at the legendary El Macombo on November 7th. He says music was his joy and passion as a kid.
What was really important is it was available at school. That's not the case anymore. The arts funding is down, music education is down across the province and especially in Toronto.
And I played piano and I played like clarinet and saxophone in school bands growing up.
Bandmate Dennis Dussin says unlike sports, there is a creative and non-competitive aspect to music.
Teaches you perseverance, teaches you discipline.
Community Music Schools of Toronto, or CMST, grew out of the Regent Park School of Music and currently provides weekly music lessons, instruments, and even travel expenses for almost 9,000 downtown kids. Everything from steel pan to ukulele to beats.
It's not just Western classical music. We're currently launching in the next month or so an Indigenous hand drumming class.
And the program has received support from the highest levels, including superstar Taylor Swift.
We had our students work on a sound library, and Taylor Swift, when she learned that it was a community music school, she not only sampled those students, so some of the proceeds from the samples go back into the program.
Executive Director Richard Marcella says although some of their students have gone on to become professional musicians, that's not really the aim.
The true point of our program is to build leadership skills, community leaders for, the next generation.
When you hear that the best part of the week was when they went to the music school, that's very inspiring for us.
Proceeds from the Fig Leaf concert go towards running the program and paying for the 50 professional music instructors with CMST. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
If you have teens or tweens at home, this next story likely won't surprise you, but may irritate you a little. Okay, dictionary.com has selected 6'7" as its word of the year for 2025. Despite admitting it's not exactly sure what it means, nobody really knows. It's believed the trend came from a song by the rapper Skrilla, in which he repeats it multiple times. The expression and accompanying hand gesture has caught on, gone viral among teens around the world. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sure you will.
It's banned in my house. We don't say that in my home. With movie adaptations having a strong showing at the box office, another major media franchise is making the jump to the big screen. Warner Brothers says a Hello Kitty movie is on the way in 2028. The cartoon feline was introduced by Japanese company Sanrio more than 50 years ago. Since then, the character has become a common sight on toys, clothing, and accessories, and thousands of other products. There's been no word on the plot, but Variety reports the Hello Kitty movie will be directed by Zootopia animator Leo Matsuda, with a script from Wicked writer Dana Fox.
You can't resist this.
Who could?
You know who could.
And speaking of Wicked, early box office forecasts are out for the musical movie's sequel. The original Broadway show was split into 2 segments. Across North America, last year's Part 1 brought in more than $112 million U.S. in its opening frame. Deadline reports Wicked for Good is set to copy that performance. It's due to have sales of $112 to $115 million on opening weekend, which debuts November 21st.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
All eyes from the world of baseball are now on the Blue Jays and their Game 6 return to Toronto. The hype and anticipation making an impact on tourism in the city. Here to tell us more is Kelly Jackson, VP of Destination Development at Destination Toronto. Thanks for joining us. This is exciting. All of the world is watching Toronto. That must be exciting for you to even just know that this is happening.
Absolutely. We've been talking a lot about what the economic impact is of this World Series, but, you just talked about the eyes being on us and the spotlight is shining on the city. And from a reputational perspective, that's huge. We've got all sorts of international media here. We've got people coming to the city for the first time, and we've got all sorts of fans who are capturing their experiences and sharing them on social media. So, I think this is setting us up really well, especially when we look ahead to next year with the FIFA FIFA World Cup.
I forgot about that. So what impact are you seeing on tourism, or what are you expecting?
Well, we've already seen a huge impact. So, we looked at, for example, just the first 2 home games of the World Series here in Toronto, and we saw an 18% increase in hotel demand. So that's an additional 7,000 room nights just over 2 days.
And when people are just watching the game, maybe you're not from the city of Toronto, you could be from the States, what do you think people are learning about Toronto while watching baseball?
Well, I mean, they're seeing, first of all, our gorgeous skyline, right? When you think of the shots of the city and of the Rogers Centre, you're getting that sense of a really dynamic urban environment. They're seeing our fan base, which is amazing and diverse. They're seeing the energy, and they're also seeing how close the Rogers Centre is to so many other attractions. So, they're getting that sense that this seems to be a really exciting place to be, World Series or not, and I think it's definitely stimulating interest in future travel here.
I never even thought of that. The fact that Toronto is not located in the U.S., is that helping?
Well, you know what? I think the fact that we've got Canada's team here is definitely bringing people from across the country to be part of the action, to be part of the watch parties, or to actually be there for a game. And that is just something that's very unique. No other MLB team has that.
And what about other countries like Asia? We know that the ratings are pretty high in Japan. Is that helping tourism here?
Yeah, well, I think absolutely the international media attention on the city, and of course, a lot of baseball fans in Japan. And, we've got an amazing player in Shohei Ohtani who's in the series, right? So I think certainly, how this is being watched internationally is really exciting for the city.
Funny, another thing I've noticed is that I'm hearing a lot of former players talk about how much they enjoyed playing in Toronto and how players want to come here. Analysts also saying things like Toronto is one of their favorite cities, if not their most favorite. That's got to help too.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got all sorts of people here, whether they are radio broadcasters, whether they're the TV folks, whether they're print journalists, and so many of them have had experiences with Toronto. So it's another opportunity to come back and really experience all the things they love about the city. But then you have people who have never been here before. And I think, they have that moment of realizing, wait a minute, this is the 4th largest city in North America. There's a thriving arts and culture scene here. There is a huge culinary scene here. This is such a unique, diverse place. And that is, for them, really interesting to watch them take that in and then talk about their experiences when they're covering the game.
Yeah, it's all helpful. Kelly Jackson from Destination Toronto, thanks so much for your insight.
Thank you. Have a great day. Go Jays.
And the last time the Jays won the World Series back in '93, a major moment for Blue Jays fans, and one super fan took celebrating into their own hands. We'll have that story when we return.
Now to a trip down memory lane, back to the World Series of 1993 and that walk-off home run by Joe Carter.
If you remember that game, you may also recall a super fan who ran onto the field to celebrate. CTV's John Venevali-Rao caught up with him all these years later.
A pitch on the way, a swing and a belt. It was a moment of pure magic. Joe Carter touching them all to win the '93 World Series. But while millions across the country began to party, Mark Astrom wasn't content to just watch the team celebrate on the field.
Just the instinct of I'm here, I'm this close, and we're going to win it. And this is first time ever. So why not?
Astrom was at that historic game, having bought tickets from a scalper for a now unbelievable price.
We were able to get a ticket for only 130 Canadian in the 5th level. So Joe has touched home plate.
Before Carter stepped up to the plate, Astrom had moved to a lower section. 2-1 on Carter. And when that homer was smacked, he decided to rush onto the field.
I sprinted down the stairs, had to duck an usher.
You can see him jumping with the team and photobombing a CBS camera crew saying, "Hi, Mom."
There's a photograph of me with one hand up in the air and celebrating, and pure joy on my face for the Jays having won and being there to witness it.
After about a minute, he was apprehended by a police officer, hauled off the field, and let go.
I went back up to the seats to enjoy the insanity. Evidence of pure joy and fashion.
He's kept all the photos of his moment with the team. As for this time around, he says he can't afford to pay the thousands for a ticket so he'll be watching Game 6 at home while enjoying the special memory he has from the last time the Jays won the World Series.
It makes me laugh. It was a lot of fun.
John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Peterborough, Ontario.
Cannot believe John found him.
What do you think? I think security will be a little tighter.
Things are different now. The police come out ninth inning to warn everybody, don't go on the field. Not today.
Lindsay's at the Dome. Who knows what will happen tonight? What will be etched in time? How's the weather looking?
Well, the weather, I think, is improving, Michelle and Nathan. I've closed the umbrella again. It's still a little drizzly out here. It's a little unsettled. We'll take one more look at your satellite and radar because I know it's very important that we see this rain clear out in time for not only the game, but for trick-or-treating. So here's how that looks right now. Still likely to be dealing with some wet weather for the next little bit here, but around 6 p.m., the temperature should be around 8 degrees, and we should have partly cloudy skies for all the kids going door to door. It is still going to be quite windy. Just be mindful of that. Here's a look at what you can expect not just tonight, but Saturday night if necessary. Let's go Blue Jays. We're hoping for all treats and no tricks tonight. Happy Halloween, everyone. Nathan and Michelle, back to you.
Happy Halloween. Thank you, Lindsay. And that's CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.